Many of the materials we rely on every day come from the ground, and modern mining technology brings them to us. You can learn more about America's natural resources at nma.org, the National Mining Association.
I announced today that I'm forming a presidential exploratory committee.
From the Watergate Building in Washington, this is Hotline TV. Now here are Hotline editors Chuck Todd and John Mercurio.
It's Hotline TV. I'm John Mercurio.
And I'm Chuck Todd. Finally, Hillary Clinton said what we're all thinking. She is formally running for president. John, she's got better defined strengths and weakness than any other candidate. So you have to ask, if she wins, how does she do it?
Look, the biggest weapon that Hillary Clinton has at her disposal going into 2008 has to be her husband. And it's her biggest obstacle as well among Republicans, but among Democrats. When you're talking about the Democratic nomination, when she brings out Bill Clinton, sure, she doesn't have the sort of star power that he does. Sure, she might pale by comparison in terms of not being able to, speak as well as he does, capture an audience. But she has Bill Clinton. He'll be out there campaigning for her. He'll remind Democrats, again, not the full electorate, but just the Democratic Party, how great things were in the 90s, how terrible things were under George Bush, and why Hillary Clinton belongs in the office. I think ultimately going into that, she has to not make the same mistake Al Gore did, which was to ignore Bill Clinton. She has to embrace him.
Well, you're thinking very conventionally. I don't disagree with what you're saying there, but I think she pulls this off, it's because of her gender. That it's because this becomes a movement, this becomes exciting, women are going, you know what? Yeah, it's about time for a woman president. And she uses the gender to be a change candidate. The biggest problem she has is this idea that she doesn't represent change. She's actually, we're just going to go back to the Democratic side of the royal family of politics, right? But instead, bringing a woman's touch to these major issues, if that is the campaign, and she is able to successfully use her gender to be an agent of change, that's why she'll have won, I think. That's why the gender will be a positive, not a negative. Some people will say, well, if she doesn't win, it's because of gender. Well, that could be. But if she wins, I think it's because of gender.
But in some ways,
it's a two-way. It cuts both ways.
I don't disagree with you. I think though she has spent the past 6 years in the Senate minimizing the appeal that she has on the gender issue. And she's done it for a specific reason. She's done it because she wanted to put herself in the middle. She doesn't want to be a Barbara Mikulski. She doesn't want to be a person who's in the Senate strictly to advocate. Now I'm going to get a call from Barbara Mikulski. Yeah. Strictly to advocate women's issues.
A call or a stapler at your head.
Right, exactly. She wants to be someone who appeals on a broader level. And I think to some extent that minimizes and neutralizes her gender appeal, if you will.
All right. So fair enough, but I think if she wins, it's because not only has she overcome the gender issue, but she somehow turned it into a strength. Yeah. Sorry, why does she lose? It's probably pretty easy to figure it out, right, if she does.
People are tired. There's an anti-Clinton. There's an anti-Bush Clinton
fatigue.
New, interesting, very interesting CBS poll out today showing that there are 3% of voters who want to learn more about Hillary Clinton. 47% want to learn more about Barack Obama. Mostly that's because they know a lot about Hillary already, but there's also there's a Hillary fatigue. It goes beyond, I think, the general electorate into the Democratic base, and I think that could hurt her.
One thing, and I know we're supposed to be talking about our negatives.
She's old party politics.
I know we're talking about our negatives, but one thing is this is the most vetted presidential candidate in history of presidential politics. First-time candidate, which should be a help. It means that she's not going to be Thomas Hitman Hearns here, where she has a glass jaw, where one punch will knock her out.
Sure.
She will survive a lot of bad days.
Right.
We don't know that about some of her opponents, but we know that about her. The question is, can she get good days back? And it used to be, and every time I used to think it would be impossible for the Clintons to get their mojo back, they always somehow got it back. So I'm not going to underestimate her.
Every time I think it's impossible that they get their mojo back, and they do, but also every time I think that there's not another Clinton scandal to come out, or there's not some crazy wacko conservative blogger to come out to come up with another Juanita Broderick story, or another Paula Jones story, and they always come back. So what's going to be an interesting question, I think, is what's the public's reaction in 2007 and 2008?
Just the first one of those rumors.
I mean, as soon as they hit the
doesn't even mean if they're true.
Right.
Just the first one of those rumors.
Do people care
that'll
about
be interesting
that in a post 9/11 world?
That'll be interesting.
All right, that does it for today's look at Hillary Clinton's presidential hopes.